G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Indeed it is time for some casted. We are on the brand new patch and we are hunting for games. Spawning in over on the west side of the map, playing as the Abbasid dynasty. It's going to be Dio Favente Perennis, who we're just going to be calling Dio because it makes it a little bit easier to cast. He's going to be playing the Abbasid dynasty. He's going to be on the color blue. And this, of course, is Mountain Pass. It's been quite some time since we've actually casted a Mountain Pass game, but they've actually fixed up a lot of the maps in the new patch, and they've made it so that these maps are a lot more rigid in the way that they spawn. So hopefully you're not getting, really stuffed around too much. We can see that it kind of looks like there's a way through there, but I'm going to bet that you're not actually able to get through there. But that is enough about the map. That is enough about Player 1 because, ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the opposite side of the map, in the color red, playing as the Delhi Sultanate, it is the one, the only, TheViper. And he's looking absolutely incredible here. Playing the Delhi, now this is the new nerfed Delhi. So there's a couple of things that have changed for the Delhi in this patch, but unfortunately, they were on the patch notes, or I should say there's a couple of things that haven't changed in the patch for the Delhi. So one of the things is that their sacred sites. So the sacred sites are 150 gold per minute. The patch notes did say that they went from 200 down to 150, but the reality is that that change had already come through. So it means that if Viper carries or takes control of both of these sacred sites, that realistically he's still only going to be having 300 gold a minute, which is still pretty nice though, considering he can do it in the feudal age. One of the other changes is to starting wood. So you can see Viper is cutting up. He's chopping down some wood over here on the wood line already. That is because he had 50 wood removed from him, but it wasn't on this patch. It was actually on the last patch that came before this. Now, the other change that came through for the Delhi Sultanate is going to be this one right here. Herbal medicine increases the healing rate of scholars by 100%. You can see it is an expensive, I say an expensive upgrade for most civs, but not for the Delhi. It is absolutely free, and they do sometimes look to get it in the feudal age or in the dark age, and it can be very, very oppressive, probably a better choice of words there, Drongo. Yeah, very oppressive. But it looks like at this stage, Viper just going to be sticking it with piety, efficient production. And I'm curious to see how Delhi actually do up against the Abbasid dynasty in this situation, because the opponent of Viper is no slouch. You can see at the top of your screen that he's currently ranked, I think that says rank 46. And that's not too bad. Now, one of the other things to note is ranked is still not yet in, so we're just testing out the new patch at the moment. And in addition to testing out the new patch, it's going to take probably about a week before ranked is turned on. Or not probably, I mean, they've specifically told us it's going to be 1 week before ranked comes on. But I've just remembered another buff that I've talked about, or nerf, that applies to both of these civilizations. Berries have been... Oh my god, Viper's doing it, the absolute madman. Tower of Victory. Viper is going for the Tower of Victory. So just before we get onto the Tower of Victory, so one of the big changes to the Abbasid dynasty and to the Delhi is that their berry bushes no longer provide 500 food. Instead, it's only going to be 350 food. So you can see up here on these berries that are untouched, they are only sitting at 250 of 250. But when you put a berry, or when you put a mill nearby, it's going to increase that up, and so it goes up from 250 up to 350. It used to be 500, so a very big nerf in that regard. It's going to mean that Delhi players, Abbasid players, going to have to leave their base, get out on the map a bit more than what they were before. But I'm curious to see what Viper is going to be looking for here. This has potential to change the way that Delhi is played, and I really think that it's kind of crazy when you think about the kind of the bonuses that they can get. So let's start thinking about like stacking your bonuses. So what bonuses do the Delhi get that no other civilization gets? What are the unique bonuses that they get for some of their military? The big one that I'm thinking about is owned blades, as my fellas from the United States would say. Personally, I say honed blades, but that's because I'm in a Neanderthal. Now, if you think about that as an upgrade, right? A little bit of almost a bit of a mistake right there from Viper. He could have lost that. He manages to lose 2 sheep when he ran past, but he does keep it alive. Ideally, you'd want him to just go the full way around, but it can be tough. But he did make that split-second decision, realized that there wouldn't be villagers under the town center, and just went for it. So smart move from him. But we see that I just realized that we've got the production queue up, and doesn't it look amazing? But they've the Abbasid, or the Delhi rather, have got access to that +3 damage coming through from on their knights. And then you can combine that with the Tower of Victory, which increases attack speed by 20%. And that's a significant amount. So now you're combining an attack speed upgrade with an attack upgrade. And that's where you start to get these amazing synergies. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Delhi looks to play once we start seeing a bit more Tower of Victory and no longer any potential Tower of Defeat. But you can see one of the other great things that they've done is they've buffed up the range here on this Tower of Victory. So it's got a much larger radius around it, which means that all the buildings that you've got inside it will immediately transfer that over to the unit. So basically a unit has to enter into this ring to actually get the upgrade. Doesn't apply to all your units. It's only the ones that have walked through that little circle. But now we can see that a blacksmith getting added in as well for our Delhi player, Mr. Viper. I say Mr. Viper, but it is the Viper, so I will call him that. But back towards the base of Dio, we'll check in with him, see how he's doing. It looks like he's actually added in a stone mine, or a mining camp on the stone. In addition to that, we've also got a heavy amount of villagers on wood, a second lumber camp getting added down here, and is going for the fresh foodstuffs. Now, he's also grabbed up his wheelbarrow. But other than that, not a lot going down in his base. Archery range actually going to be coming up here, which, to be honest, I saw this second lumber camp and I was like, is that an archery range that's going to be coming up here? And indeed, it looks like it will be. But that kind of, to me, it symbols archers rather than archery, or like camel archers, which have been buffed up. Second town center is being added down towards this south position, and a beautiful spot for this town center. It's lovely, snug in this nook. There's no way it's going to be getting taken down by battering rams or anything like that. So a smart move. But now Viper moving across the map, getting attacked by wolves in the middle of the map, as they love to do. This is part of the reason why I always try and pick up the wolves in the early game and just force them into ideally onto the edge of the map in my enemy's base. But it's not always the case. Boar in the middle of the map, neither of these civs going to be able to take the boar here. At least, actually, now that I think about it, Abbasid Dynasty can't take it. Delhi can't take the boar, can they? I don't think either of the berry civs can take the boars. I don't know why I'm having such a brain fart on that. Viper now beginning to move out. Now you can see that these units are going to have that increased attack speed. Now one of my theories about why this actually might be really good for the Delhi Sultanate is one of the things that we're starting to see is more feudal fights happening, and a lot of it seems to be with archers. Now on the surface it might not seem that big to have 20% attack speed, but when you've got say 25 archers against 23 archers, how are you microing those? You're taking all of your 23 archers and you're focusing down one of your enemy archers. Normally you wouldn't attack move in that kind of battle. And as a result, it means that you're actually going to be killing your enemy's archers 20% faster because you're firing off 20% more shots. And so as a result, it means that your critical mass is going to stay critical for a lot longer, and that is incredibly good. So we'll have to see how Viper looks to play it, whether he looks to continue massing up those archers, but he is indeed continuing to play it out very nice and safely so far in the first age. Now, interestingly, has also gone for a couple of scholars. Now, these bad boys are full-price scholars. These are not the discount scholars that you'd be familiar with from the landmark, the Dome of the Faith. And because there is no Dome of the Faith, you are paying the full price for these scholars. But of course, you do still have them available to you. But you can see them coming out. You just got to be a bit more careful with them, I think. So, when it comes to capturing the sacred sites, like I think you'd probably only be looking at capturing this sacred site. You probably wouldn't risk this one. It's kind of dangerous. We'll see how Viper plays, though, because he is heading up towards that position. Battering ram also going to be coming in as well. He's got plenty of research that's already happened, so siege engineering has come through. Now going to be looking to get his +1 ranged upgrade as well. Still yet to grab those in. But is that a second battering ram? Indeed it is. So Viper going very heavy here. Could look to do a chop through on this wood line. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him. Viper is the kind of guy that is more than happy to do a little bit of a chop through. But now we can see the consequence of the nerf. The berries have all been exhausted in this position. And as a result, it means that with the berries being exhausted, our Abbasid player has to look to go towards the sheep, which gather slower than the berries for the Abbasid, or potentially look to expand up towards the north. Now, one of the other things to note is that the Camel Archer, so many things have been changed in this recent patch. The Camel Archer has also been changed, so it's given a little bit of a damage buff in this situation. So it's got a higher damage against normal units, but a lower damage against spears. So before it used to like 4-shot a spearman, now it's going to be like, it'll be a lot more than that, maybe 5, even 6 potentially. But we do see sacred sites getting captured up behind this. Villagers do enter into the outpost, going to be going down. 2 battering rams doing so much work here, but the camel archer mass is really beginning to favor right now for Dio. He's falling back towards that town center and doing a great job microing out those low health camels, trying to keep them alive, and is able to hold on in this position. Not enough archers coming out for Viper, it seems. Now, one thing to note, camel archers are countered by archers, but there needs to be a larger number of them, and there just seems not to be the case here. So camel archer mass definitely seems to be very strong, but you can see how quickly it goes down, not paying attention for half a second, and all of a sudden you've lost 2 camels. Very, very delicate units indeed. Sacred sites now being captured up towards the north of the map as well. So we have got sacred sites all over this map being taken for the Viper. It's only 2, but hey, 2 is still pretty good when you're playing as the Deli, because it's an extra 100 gold a minute that you're getting in as a result of being the Deli. But now you can see that Viper might be a little bit troubled here, because he's able to push through, but now the camels are starting to push back. No micro really coming out from his opponent at this point. He's trying to focus down, and you can see just how much damage they're actually doing. That extra +2 damage that they got, I think it was +2 damage that they got, really doing quite a lot of work there. Back towards the base of Viper, you can see he's got efficient production here. Scholars are not doing, or they're trying to pump out units non-stop, so this is the equivalent of like 4 buildings. 4 production buildings right there. Looks like he's managed to keep all of the scholars alive, at least for the moment. Now Viper running a little bit low on food, so feeling the consequence of this recent nerf. He's got berries up towards the north. He's only just moved his villagers out there, but you can see he's definitely struggling, floating 500, 600 of his 2 secondary resources, but food struggling. And by the same token, look at our Abbasid player also struggling with food. Neutralizing the sacred site up towards the north. No units up here to contest. You could probably just leave the 1 camel there, but going to be very happy just building up his economy behind this. He's got his 2 town centers and going to be working towards that late game. And at the same time, the scout now going to be looking to find out exactly what Viper's up to. You can see that military mass still building. Viper very keen on adding more battering rams. Why does Viper like rams so much? This is the 4th ram that we are seeing out of Viper today. He is in the mood for a ramming, isn't he? He just wants to get it out there, and you know, fair enough to the guy. It's a brand new patch. I can't really blame him for wanting to get the rams out of the showers. But yeah, that's a lot of rams. But Viper now, I mean, he's still gathering up that 150 gold, or still receiving that sacred site gold for free at this point in time. And it's going to enable him to look to go up towards that castle age. We can see another mosque going to be coming down here. Still actually paying full price for his scholars, but he's got 3 in queue. So who knows, maybe Dome of the Faith isn't actually that broken in the first place. When you're playing Deli, you've already got so much gold that you're floating. It does start to add up over the game. Like, you're saving 75 gold every single scholar that you make, and you might make 20 in a game, so 1,500 gold. But at the end of the day, you know, what price can you put on 20% attack speed for every single unit for the rest of the game? That's pretty damn high. And now archers looking to fight up against the camel archers. Camel archers are in a much greater number, also in much greater power as well. He's pushing out. He's got to be careful against those spears. I suspect he'll have a bit of micro here. Beautiful micro coming in there. Going to be getting off plenty of shots. And Viper looking to struggle against this composition of camel archer and camel archers. Now, one of the other things to note, camel archers did have their movement speed buffed by a little bit. So they've gone from 1.62 to 1.69 movement speed. So they're able just to get a little bit more distance between the enemy units, and now Viper continues to struggle against this, but it's not looking pretty for him. I mean, at this point in the game, it looks like Dio's doing a great job of just defending this position. The battering rams are obviously doing work, but at the same time, the question is whether the work's actually valuable. Like, should you really be paying the rams to be doing this work? Like, congratulations, you're going to be able to set the outpost on fire. You're probably even going to be able to take it out with this last blow. Nope. Outpost then gets repaired, or is he going to stay? Outpost then... Oh, he thought about it. I mean, is it a big deal? I don't know whether it's a big deal or not. Even if this outpost goes down, it's probably going to go down. I mean, it's a fully upgraded outpost. You've got an emplacement in this. You've got the stone tower upgrade, or the stone health upgrade. But you can see he did send it back to repair, and then he changed his mind. Goes down. It goes down. That's an expensive boy. I'm pretty sure that's like 100 stone, 200 stone to get that upgrade. Viper now going up to the next age. He's dropped down his landmark. We'll take a look and see if we can find it. There it is, the House of Learning. So he is looking to synergize. Like a tech company coming out of Silicon Valley right now. He is synergizing his upgrades. So going to be getting in that extra 20% attack speed from his Tower of Victory. Also going to be getting in the research from his House of Learning. So we'll take a look at it now. Here it is, the Owned Blade. So an extra 3 damage to Lancers as well to Men-at-Arms. So they're going to be hitting things out of the park at this point in time, but we'll see how Viper, or if Viper is capable of overcoming the early game issue that he had. Now, we'll take a look, we'll do a bit of an assessment and see what villager counts are like. Right now, Viper sits on 45 villages with a sacred site to his name. On the other side of the map, we've got our Abbasid player, Dio, who is sitting on 66 villages with no sacred site. So not terrible for Viper. He's sitting behind only about 21 villages, which at this point in the game isn't too bad. So yeah, not terrible for him. To be honest, I kind of expected Dio to be a little bit higher than that, but I guess I'm suspecting he's probably lost out quite a few villagers just defending against the Ram, so that's probably what he was looking to do. But now we see all the upgrades coming through for the Viper. Have a look at these upgrades. So this is probably going to be the difficult spot about dealing with the Delhi in recorded games. As you can see, they've got all of the upgrades coming through. We see the economic upgrades, the military upgrades, we see the techs, we see the unit upgrades, getting absolutely everything through. Now it looks like relics are coming in. Now, one thing to note is we have 6 relics on this map. First relic is coming in. Second relic safely at the back of Viper's base. Third relic down towards this southern position. On the opposite side of the map, spawning in for Dio, it is a safe relic. It is another safe relic, and of course, it is a third safe relic. So all of the relics have been. So we've got. I mean, there's just so many changes to talk about. We've talked about it quite immensely at this point in time. Well, not quite immensely, but quite significantly. All the changes that have come through just for these 2 civilizations on this map. There's a huge raft of changes. Age of Empires 4 has never looked this good. And that's what excites me incredibly, because from where we are right now, it is just, it only gets better from here. That is the way I look at it. A little bit of a switch now coming in. We can see that there are multiple archery ranges coming down, but it looks like Triple Stable is going to be coming in. Did go up with the Culture Wing, now researching that Preservation of Knowledge. Already getting some upgrades through, so looking to get Veteran Camel Archers. Not going to be wasting any time. Mangonel actually going to be coming out. A lot of damage on this, and you can see the speed from these camels. It's absolutely huge. We'll take a look at the Blacksmith, I think it is. Blacksmith, here we go. Camel Handling, a really important upgrade. Hopefully we see it come through from Dio as soon as he's got that Preservation of Knowledge through. Probably going to be looking to get his +2 ranged attack as well as defense shortly, but Dio looking like he's in a pretty good spot here. He's continuing to scale. He's up to 78 villages at the moment. Compare that over to Viper, who's on 51, so now we see that villager lead beginning to build up to 27 now, but Viper is not letting down. He's actually making Men-at-Arms, and I think this is part of the issue with the Abbasid Dynasty's Camel Archer. How do you counter them? Like, okay, let's talk about this for a second. This unit has a bonus damage against light melee infantry. So for anybody saying spears, I mean, technically, yes, you're right. You do counter them with spears if you get this amazing trap. Or if you somehow find a way to burrow them like a Baneling, then totally, you could do that. But if that doesn't happen, how are you going to be countering these? Mangonel going to be coming out, getting a decent shot. Now, I genuinely think the answer might actually be Mangonel's an effective counter in this situation. Viper now continuing to push forward. Got to be careful not to get caught out of position here. Trebuchet going to be coming in as well. So Viper really looking to build up that siege ball. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see an Alp or a keep coming down from him shortly as well. I'm sure he would love to safe up this, to shore up this position in the middle. A lot of shores coming out in a short time. But I think Mangonels are probably the best way to go, but Mangonels obviously don't do enough damage to really one-shot these. I think you need probably about 6 or 7 Mangonels to do it, but we have a stone wall now coming up from his opponent. Dio looking to pull a page out of the books of Salami, it seems. But we'll take a look over at Dio and see how he's doing with regard to his upgrades. We don't have Camel Handling coming out just yet, but he is going for medical centers. So looking to heal up with his keep. So keep's going to be providing that AoE healing. Very interesting that it came in so early as well. 10 Camel Riders. Camel Riders coming in right now. The Camel composition is real. Viper is going up against the Camel composition because we are now entering into this just crazy sort of mid-game stage. You can see all the spears coming out for Viper. Veteran Spearmen going to be trying to hold off, and now a Tower War Elephant comes out. You know what? Tower War Elephant might not be a bad choice against these units. They've got a lot of armor, a lot of ranged armor, but it's obviously going to be cancelled out by the high damage of the veteran camel archer. You can see it's got a total of 16 damage. And the Tower War Elephants at the moment only have, or they've got 6 ranged armor, which is pretty darn good, but they're still taking 10 damage a pop. So it's quite a significant amount. But now we see Dio is beginning to add in more Springolds as well as more Camel Archers, and Camel Riders are coming out. So looks pretty good. I'm curious to see how he goes with these Camel Riders. These guys are very quick. They move around as fast as a horseman. So don't think of them as a knight replacement. Think of them as a horseman replacement. It makes it a lot easier in that regard. But now Viper looking to push up towards the north. You can see these walls coming down for his opponent. Dio looking to try and get some walls out. I think he might actually get these stone walls through, and it looks like he actually does. Very nicely played there from Dio, doing a bit of a quick wall and managing to keep himself alive on that part. But yeah, the best way to think about these Camel Riders is an expensive horseman. So we've got the horseman that's 120. This one is 180 and 60. So it's double the cost of your horseman, but it's still a similar thing. It's a light melee unit. It's not heavy, so it doesn't get countered by crossbows. It gets countered by, your conventional spearman sort of anti-cavalry unit. But it's an interesting unit because it does have bonus damage against cavalry, so it does very effectively against knights, other horsemen, and I think it can be mixed very well with horsemen as well, so that the only thing that really counters them are spears. So you could essentially make a cavalry-only army, where you've got horsemen, camel riders, veteran camel archers, and that would be all you would need. It would be a difficult to micro army. It would be very, you would have to be so careful around spearmen, but I think it could be very, very strong. But now you can see the military forces, or the production that's coming down here for Dio at this point in time. He's doing absolutely amazingly. We have a look how much he's got. He's got 13 military production buildings at this point and continues to try and hold on. Viper, by the same token, funneling in his siege. He's sitting at the moment on 57 economic units, but 90 military population. Compare that over to his opponent, who's sitting on 99 economic population and only 50 military. So switching it around, but now Viper actually putting down emplacements in these outposts. A very smart move. We've got this trench warfare and such a great effective counter against these camel archers. You want to try and push in and take this? Go for it. You're just going to be losing, bleeding out units non-stop to these springled emplaced towers. So very smart move there. But now we can see more upgrades coming through, fertilization as well as insulated helm for Dio, and he is looking to move onto farms, and moving onto farms is exactly what he is doing. So many farms back here. Now I'm suspecting he's also got his upgrade for his economic wing. Indeed he does. So already we can see that people are starting to favor. Look at this right here. We have got the Keep's special the Keep's special ability coming through here, providing all of this extra healing to the villagers that have been damaged by the mangonel. Such a smart move. And keep in mind, they actually heal next to or when they're inside the outpost. So you can garrison them inside the outpost, inside the keep, and they will still be healing up. You see that healing still going off there. So doing a great job. Very smart move there. By picking up that medical centers. And definitely goes to show the power of the Abbasid dynasty when it comes to this play style, when it comes to being a bit more defensive. Counter Trebuchet is now going to be coming out for Dio, so Dio going to be looking to siege down the outposts of his opponent, but now we see where Viper comes out. He will be looking to bring forward Springolds, I suspect. We'll have a look at the military that he's running at the moment. Doesn't look like he's got any. He's just going to be pushing on his opponent. Decides to fall back. 3 Springolds coming out for his opponent. I like that we've got this hill here as well. We can kind of enter into this this vantage point here. We can see from the top of the hill, it gets a little bit foggy all the way up here. You will have to excuse me, but yeah, these guys, I suspect they're probably going to be intent on fighting this one out. Look at the mass though that's starting to build now for his opponent. Viper sitting on 119 military, 68 for Dio. Dio in trouble. So just that when you thought that the Delhi Sultan might be out of it, Viper still continues to keep his head above water, continues funneling in all the trebuchets, and Dio knows that he's on the clock here. Now, Viper can continue moving the trench forward. All he needs to do is continue dropping down outposts. As long as he's able to take out the trebuchets of his opponent, that's going to be the primary thing. And then once he gets down on this House of Wisdom, it's going to be very difficult for Dio. But you can see that he's positioning. He's getting a little bit restless over here, Dio. He's got 23 ranged camel archers at the moment. When it comes to knights, he's got 11, and now a bit of a push beginning to come out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the biggest fight you've ever seen on this patch, because we haven't seen many fights yet on this patch, but you can see Viper getting completely overwhelmed, it feels like. He's got a lot of siege on the backline, but look at the amount of units that are just coming out from Dio. I thought it was going to be closer. Viper had double the military population of his enemy, but Dio seems to be rolling over the top of him. Viper continuing to focus down enemy units on the backline with his trebuchets, but now falling back once again. Archer's managing to micro back, and Dio in a very good spot. This is not looking good for Viper. Keep in mind, behind this, Dio's got a huge economy, and at the same time, Viper's economy is beginning to struggle because he's only on that one town center. Falling back, those elephants do, and you can see how strong that new Camel Archer is as we head to the top of the mountain for whatever reason. It just took us up there, but that new Camel Archer is really what this game is all about. Absolutely beautiful. The new Camel Archer is absolutely amazing. But now it seems like Viper is slowly turning the tide of the battle. You can see that he's managed to whittle down his enemy. The elephants are still in here, still firing. Trebuchets doing their magic, and the question is, who wins the battle of attrition? I'd have to say it's the Abbasid dynasty. They got more villagers pumping out units non-stop. They're doing exactly what they need to take control of this game. And now Springald's also on the backline, going to begin working down the siege here for Viper. It's not going to be tough. He looks to try and hold on. Spear's going to be coming through as well, but keep in mind these guys are countered so effectively against the military units, and Viper going to be falling back to the other side of the wall. You can see he's got the 3 trebs out. Keep not going to get up. There's no village. Actually, is that cancelled, that keep? I can't even select that keep. That keep has been cancelled, or at least taken out, rather, by the trebuchets. But now Viper in a bit of a difficult position here because all he's got is, well, let's take a look. Let's do a bit of a comparison. 114 villagers, 33 military versus 55 villagers, 36 military. So it's starting to look more and more like Viper may lose this game, but obviously testing out the viability of his different landmarks. He goes for the Tower of Victory, but the new Camel Arch, I mean, that's the question, right? Like, we see the Tower of Victory. It is here. It is buffed up. It is looking beautiful. The bugs have been fixed. That's a big thing for the Tower of Victory. The bugs have been fixed, but the question is whether it's actually going to be a viable landmark. But Viper's Tower of Victory, I mean, it was a beautiful build order. A nice try, Viper. I'll be real with you guys. This is his first game on the brand new patch that we are watching, and so he's just testing things out. You know what Viper's like. He doesn't care. He just rolls in there. He doesn't care about raiding. He doesn't care about any of that kind of thing, and so he's happy to try this out. But now, again, we can see that the trebs for his enemy are going to begin focusing down the palisade gates, and once they're through, it's going to be very difficult to stop the onslaught because the units will keep coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming. And I think that was a meme song, but they also wrote lyrics that were very similar to that, so they really don't stop coming. But yeah, behind this, I mean, Dio looking very good with his economy. He's not too fussed at all. Plenty of farms back here nice and safely. He is just looking great. He's got 40 farms. 40 farms, and now finally that gate does indeed open up on the front line. Viper going to get cleaned up here, and Viper does indeed tap out. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Unfortunately, the greatest of all time does indeed go down to Dio, but well played, and what a great look at this first patch. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Is the Tower of Victory no longer known as the Tower of Defeat? Who knows? You'll have to find out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.